Hello and welcome back to another week of Pennywise Pauper. I'm your host Jake, and this week's deck is Izzet Blitz. Izzet Blitz is a powerful aggressive deck that uses Delver of Secrets, Kiln Fiend, Nivik Cyclops, and a bunch of different instants and sorceries to attack the opponent for as much as possible as fast as possible. If you play a Kiln Fiend on turn 2, you can actually kill your opponent on turn 3 with the right sequence of plays. There's only 17 lands, nothing in the deck costs more than 3 mana, except for Gush, which doesn't count because we generally return 2 islands to pay its cost. And almost everything is focused on letting Kiln Fiend or Nivik Cyclops attack for a billion. Let's look at the pieces of the deck and see how we assemble our 20 damage combo. So here we have our creatures. We're only playing 12, and the creatures are very important. The one main weakness of this deck is the fact that it needs its creatures so badly and it's only playing these 12. So if you just don't draw very many during the game or if you get all of yours removed, it's very hard to win. While Delver of Secrets isn't as explosive as Kiln Fiend or Nivik Cyclops with the damage it can deal, it can still whittle your opponent down and make it easier to attack for lethal with the other 2 creatures. So the spells here represent Izzet Blitz's primary game plan. You stick a creature, you play cheap spells, and then you Temur Battle Rage it. So you see, Gitaxian Probe, Gush, Mutagenic Growth, and Gutshot can all be cast for 0 mana. 3 of them make use of Phyrexian mana, so we can pay life instead of mana, and Gush lets us return 2 islands instead of pay its 5 mana cost. How this all works together is you play a Kiln Fiend on turn 2, or a Nivik Cyclops on turn 3, and then on the turn following you play 3 spells, the third of which is Temur Battle Rage. So if it's the third turn and you only have 3 mana and you want to cast a Temur Battle Rage, that means your other 2 spells have to cost 1 mana total, or less, which is where these 0 mana spells come in. 0 mana being able to draw a card with Gitaxian Probe and see if the coast is clear if your opponent has removal is very good. 0 mana getting to draw 2 cards with Gush is great. And Mutagenic Growth and Gutshot can help us pump up our power and deal damage even faster. So to recap, the game plan is turn 2 Kiln Fiend, turn 3 0 mana spell, and then either another 0 mana spell or 1 mana spell, like a cantrip, and then the 2 mana Temur Battle Rage, and you attack for 20. Because the Kiln Fiend gets up to a 10-2, and with Double Strike, that becomes 20 power worth of Double Strike and Trample. Then if the opponent chump blocks, they still are going down to maybe 2 or 3 life, and you can finish them off with a Lightning Bolt. So how do we assemble this damage combo? We need a creature, we need a Temur Battle Rage, and we need 2 more spells. So to help us draw our cards in the right order, and to make sure we have all the pieces that we need, we have 4 Ponder, 4 Preordain, and 1 Impulse. Very importantly, these all also trigger the Kiln Fiend and the Nivik Cyclops. So whether we're digging for lands, or Apostle's Blessing, or Temur Battle Rage, whatever it is, we get to give +3/+low to our creatures whenever we cast one of these. Additionally, Ponder and Preordain can help us flip over Delver of Secrets as early as possible by setting up the top of our library to be an instant or sorcery. The rest of the spells in the deck are a little bit all over the place. Apostle's Blessing can protect from removal spells, and also prevent your opponent's creatures from blocking. Shadow Rift can prevent your opponent's creatures from blocking and draw you a card at the same time. The 4 Lightning Bolt can move blockers out of the way, or go to the face to finish off the last few points of damage. And the 2 main deck Dispel are to prevent your opponent from trying to remove your creatures while you're trying to combo off and attack for lethal. We only play 17 lands, 9 Island, 5 Mountain, 3 Evolving Wilds. You'll see some lists play Swiftwater Cliff. I don't particularly like that, because Evolving Wilds can become an island, and specifically islands are very important in the deck because of Gush. You don't want to be stuck with multiple Swiftwater Cliffs on the battlefield and not be able to cast a Gush because you don't have 2 basic islands. Moving on to the sideboard, since we're playing both red and blue, we get access to both Hydroblast and Pyroblast, which are both very strong in Pauper and specifically in this deck. Hydroblast can prevent lightning bolts from hitting us, and also get rid of red blockers. Pyroblast's main job is to get rid of counterspells. The other 2 counterspells on our board, Dispel and Counterspell, come in when we know that there are certain things we have to stop our opponent from doing. On our top row here, we have 3 different removal spells we can bring in, depending on what type of creatures our opponent has. Electricity is good against tokens and elves. Flame Slash is good if we just need more Lightning Bolt equivalents, or if our opponent specifically has 4 toughness creatures. And the 2 Smash to Smithereens are very good against Affinity. We have some 1-ofs on the bottom. Flaring Pain is good against specifically Circle of Protection red. Even if we just use it once, or use it once and then flash it back on 2 turns, will generally give us enough time to get through for damage with our Kiln Fiend and Nivik Cyclops. The Stormbound Geist is good against control decks, where you need a resilient threat, and the Eldrazi Sky Spawner, modern staple, is good against decks where you need 2 different bodies to block. So if you're racing against Infect or Stompy, or even tokens, something like that, Eldrazi Sky Spawner can either block twice with the 2/1 body and the 1/1 body, or maybe you can block with the 1/1 and you get an evasive flyer in the air to deal some damage. That's it for the deck tech, so let's go play some matches and see how we do.